Picture this scenario, because I guarantee it happened to someone you know. It's graduation day. An 18-year-old kid who still asks permission to use the bathroom at school is handed a stack of loan documents. The financial aid officer smiles warmly and says, "Just sign here, here, and here. Everyone does it. This is your investment in your future." That kid signs away the next 20 years of their life, and they have no idea they just became property. A majority of people would interpret that piece of paper as a loan agreement. But was it? What if I told you it was a legally binding servitude contract that even bankruptcy cannot break? And what if I told you this wasn't an accident, but a coordinated architecture built over 45 years to transform an entire generation into a compliant, controllable workforce? My name is Eddie, and I run the channel Profits Motive, where I spend way too much time pulling apart the invisible machines that run our lives. Today we're talking about the single largest wealth transfer from young people to institutions in American history. We're talking about $1.8 trillion in student debt held by 42.5 million Americans, debt that cannot be escaped, negotiated, or forgiven by bankruptcy. We're talking about educational debt slavery. If you've ever looked at your student loan balance and felt panic, if you've ever wondered why college costs more than a house, or if you've felt trapped in a job you hate because you have loans to pay, hit that subscribe button, because today I'm going to show you the mathematical proof that your student loans weren't designed to help you climb the ladder. They were designed to make sure you never leave the bottom rung. Here's the fundamental scam. This is not normal market behavior. This is not inflation. This is coordinated extraction. In 1980, the average four-year college education cost $20,000 total. Adjusted for normal inflation, that should cost $67,000 today, but it actually cost $267,914 today. Since 1980, college tuition has risen 1,200%, while general inflation rose only 236%. If McDonald's hamburgers had increased at the same rate as college tuition, a Big Mac would cost $23 today. The most violent explosion happened in the 1980s. During that decade, tuition increased 141.3%, the most extreme period on record. Something changed. Someone flipped a switch, and it was never turned off. This wasn't the invisible hand of the free market. This was a very visible hand reaching into your future paychecks. Because at the exact same time tuition exploded, the government made it nearly impossible to discharge student loans in bankruptcy. In 1976, the rules changed. Student loans became a special category of permanent debt that follows you to the grave. Let me summarize the setup. Create a cultural mandate that everyone must go to college. Make college cost 12 times more than inflation. Make the debt non-escapable through bankruptcy. Guarantee the loans so schools get paid no matter what. The trap was set. Millions walked into it. Let's talk about Sarah. Sarah is 25. She did everything right. Good grades, respectable state university, communications major. She graduated in 2022 with $39,375 in federal student loan debt, the average. She worked part-time during school. She was careful. Sarah got a job paying $74,500 a year, the average for bachelor's degree holders. Not bad, right? Except her monthly student loan payment is $336. Here's where the math gets dark. Let's calculate Sarah's sentence. The average borrower takes 20 years to pay off student loans. Some take 45 years. Let's be conservative and say Sarah pays hers off in 20 years with that $336 monthly payment. 336 times 12 times 20 years equals $80,640. She borrowed $39,375. She will pay back $80,640, more than double. But that $336 a month Sarah pays to lenders has an opportunity cost. If she'd invested that $336 monthly in a retirement account earning 7% annual return over 20 years, she'd have $329,000. Sarah's student loans aren't costing her $80,640 in repayment. They're costing her $329,000 in lost retirement wealth. She's not paying back a loan. She's trading her 60s and 70s for her 20s and 30s. But Sarah is lucky. She has a job. She's making payments. Let's talk about what happens when Sarah loses her job, or has a medical emergency, or simply cannot afford the payment anymore. Here's something most Americans don't know. Rack up $50,000 in credit card debt, file bankruptcy, debt wiped. Business loan for $100,000, business fails, declare bankruptcy, walk away. $200,000 in medical bills, bankruptcy clears it. America believes in second chances, unless your debt is from student loans. Student loans are special. To discharge them in bankruptcy, you must prove undue hardship. Courts interpret this so strictly it's almost impossible. You must prove repaying would prevent maintaining even a minimal standard of living, not just now, but indefinitely. You must prove good faith repayment efforts. You must prove your financial situation won't improve. Most people can't meet this standard. Even disabled people living in poverty can't discharge their student loans. Real example, an 83-year-old man paid nearly $38,000 on his loans for decades. Because of interest, his balance grew from $60,000 to over $63,000. He paid for decades and owed more than when he started. That's not a loan, that's a subscription to debt. That's indentured servitude with interest. So, Sarah cannot escape through bankruptcy. That door is welded shut. What are her other options? If Sarah stops paying, if she defaults, the government doesn't need a court order. After 270 days of non-payment, the federal government can garnish up to 15% of her wages. They just take it automatically before she sees her paycheck. By law, they only have to leave her $217.50 per week. That's $870 a month. You cannot survive on $870. Can't pay rent, utilities, food, transportation, health care, but that's all they're legally required to leave you. If Sarah defaults, her credit score plummets. Newly delinquent borrowers see an average 60-point drop. Sarah can't get an apartment, car loan, or mortgage. She can't even get some jobs because employers check credit scores. Her entire financial life is destroyed. Right now, nearly a third of federal student loan borrowers, 5.8 million people, are at least 90 days delinquent. Over 5 million are in default, and another 4 million are on the edge. Nearly a quarter of the entire federal student loan portfolio could be in default. This isn't a few irresponsible people. This is systemic. This is a generation who cannot pay back loans designed to be unpayable. Student loans are the second largest debt in America, behind mortgages. We've created a country where the only thing people owe more on than education is their house. Why would the government, schools, and loan industry build a system this predatory? Let me walk you through the architecture. In the 1980s, something shifted. America decided everyone needed college. It became a cultural mandate. High school guidance counselors, parents, media, politicians all pushed the same message. College is not optional, it's mandatory. At the same time, the government started guaranteeing student loans. The lender gets paid no matter what. If you default, the government pays them. The lender has zero risk. Schools get paid up front, tuition in full, whether your degree gets you a job or not. The school has zero risk. Lenders who can't lose, schools who can't lose. Who's holding all the risk? You, the 18-year-old kid who just wanted to do what everyone told them. Here's where it gets sinister. Research shows every $1 in subsidized federal student loans increases college tuition by 60 cents, the Bennett hypothesis. More loan money available means schools raise prices because students can borrow more. It's a feedback loop. More loans, higher tuition. Higher tuition, more loans. Who profits? Schools and lenders. Who pays? You, forever. But the most important part isn't financial, it's psychological. When you saddle a young person with $40,000 or $100,000 in non-dischargeable debt before their first real job, you create someone who cannot take risks. They can't quit a toxic job, start a business, move to a cheaper city, or protest because they might get fired. If fired, they default. If they default, wages get garnished, and their life is over. You've created a compliant worker, a desperate worker who will take any job, accept any pay, endure any conditions, because the alternative is financial annihilation. That's not an accident. That's the point. Student loans aren't a bug. They're a feature, a tool of social control to ensure an entire generation stays on the hamster wheel, running faster, never able to stop or opt out because they're servicing interest on a loan they took at 18. It doesn't stop with Sarah. Parents are taking out loans for their children. Parents in their 50s, 60s, 70s are still paying student loans. That 79-year-old man I mentioned isn't unique. People will die with student loan debt. People are paying loans while collecting Social Security. This is multi-generational servitude. When parents pay their kids' loans, they're not saving for retirement or building wealth to pass down. The family stays poor. The kids inherit nothing. When those kids have children, the cycle repeats. Generational poverty, engineered through education. Let's talk about what this does to people's minds. 71% of people with student loans wish they'd been better educated about the debt before taking it on. 51% regret borrowing money for college at all. 43% regret going to college altogether. Nearly half of people with student loans regret the entire experience. They traded 4 years of youth and the next 20 years of income for a piece of paper, and they wish they hadn't. This system produces a generation of demoralized, bitter, anxious people who feel betrayed by the institutions that were supposed to help them. They did what they were told, followed the rules, and were punished for it. That psychological damage is the hidden cost no one calculates, the mental health tax of a system designed to trap you. I know this is horrifying. The system is rigged, but here's what they're counting on. You being too exhausted, too demoralized, too busy servicing debt to fight back. Don't give them that satisfaction. If you already have student loans, here's your battle plan. First, calculate your debt servitude years. Take your total loan balance plus the interest you'll pay, divide by your annual take-home pay. That number is how many years of your life you've sold to lenders. Write it down. That's your enemy. Second, look into income-driven repayment plans. These cap your monthly payment at a percentage of your income. Not perfect, you'll pay more interest over time, but it keeps you from defaulting and wage garnishment. Third, attack the debt aggressively. Every dollar of side income, every tax refund, every bonus goes to the highest interest rate loan. You're not just paying down debt, you're buying back years of your life. Fourth, calculate your debt freedom date, the exact month and year of your final payment. Write it on your bathroom mirror. Put it on your phone wallpaper. Make it visible. That's the finish line, the day you stop being property. But here's the bigger solution. If you haven't taken out loans yet, if you're in high school or have kids approaching college age, listen carefully. Do not borrow more than 1 year's expected starting salary for your degree. Going to be a teacher making $45,000? Don't borrow $80,000. The math doesn't work. You will drown. Run the ROI calculation before picking a school. Take starting salary for your major, subtract what you'd make with just a high school diploma, that's your annual gain. Divide your total cost of attendance, tuition plus room and board times 4 years, by that annual gain. If the number is higher than 10, you're making a bad investment. You'd be wealthier skipping college and investing the difference. Consider alternatives. Trade schools cost an average of $22,444 at for-profit institutions. Electricians, plumbers, HVAC technicians make $75,000 with minimal debt. A marketing grad with a bachelor's makes $50,000 with $45,000 in debt. Who's winning? The plumber. Do 2 years at community college, then transfer to a state school for the final 2 years. Same degree at a fraction of the cost. The diploma doesn't say you started at community college. Choose your major based on earnings data, not passion. Passion doesn't pay rent or stop wage garnishment. Love art? Study engineering. Do art on the side. Love history? Study computer science. Read history books for free. The system made this a survival game. Treat it like one. Sarah makes $74,500 a year. After taxes, about $57,000 take-home. She works 40 hours weekly, 50 weeks yearly, 2,000 hours. Her hourly wage is $28.50. Except she pays $336 monthly in student loans, $4,032 yearly. Now her take-home is $52,968. Real hourly wage is $26.48. But those loans aren't just costing $4,032 yearly. They're costing $329,000 in lost retirement wealth. Spread over her 40-year career, that's $8,225 per year in lost opportunity. Now her real hourly wage drops to $22.37. She's not making $28.50 an hour. She's making $22.37 because of student loans. That's assuming 20-year payoff. If it takes 30 years, the numbers get worse. Graduate school? Medical school grads have $200,000 in debt. Law school grads have $150,000. Those people are in debt servitude for 30, 40, even 45 years. They become doctors and lawyers, and they're still broke because every dollar is already spoken for. I want to give you language, terms to describe what's happening, because once you can name it, you can fight it. Debt servitude years. The number of working years belonging to your lenders, not you. Calculate it, know it, reduce it. Educational hostage, what you are with non-dischargeable student loans, not a borrower, a hostage. The college tax, the difference between what you paid for education and what it actually cost the institution. Schools charge $60,000 yearly for education, costing them $15,000 to deliver. The rest is profit, the college tax. Financial Stockholm Syndrome, when you defend the system that trapped you. When you say, I took out the loans, it's my responsibility. No, you were 18. You were lied to. The system is designed to trap you. Stop defending your captor. Here's some homework for you to do when you're clear-headed. Sit down and run your numbers. If you have student loans, calculate your total payback amount, including interest. Calculate your debt servitude years. Calculate lost retirement wealth. Write it down. Look at it. Get angry. If you're considering college, run the ROI calculation. Compare costs of different schools. Look at salary data for your major. Decide based on math, not emotions. If you have kids, start this conversation now. Show them this video. Show them the numbers. Don't let them walk into the trap blind like millions of us did. Then share this video. Text it to 3 people considering student loans. Post it in your family group chat. Tag someone who graduated with debt and feels trapped. We're living through the largest wealth transfer from young people to institutions in American history. But once you understand the architecture, once you see the trap, you can hack the system, you can make better choices, you can escape. 71% of borrowers wish they'd known the truth before signing. You now know the truth. Don't let someone you care about sign without seeing this first. If this changed how you see your student loans, hit subscribe. Drop a comment with your debt freedom date. Let's build a community of people who understand the game and are playing to win. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.